To all the current students of IS Gurukul, I'd like to wish them best of luck, and they should just trust their instincts, be persistent in their preparation. And as sir, his teaching methodology that consists of those 3 steps, that is quite critical, and I found that very instrumental. There is a sense of scientific approach to sociology, which I think that helped me, and my background, my interest in social institutions, I believe that it will help me in exploring the subject rather than bringing monotony in my routine. And I just say that utilize that experience that you are having in this institution, and just make sure that just like most of the aspirants, do not get bogged down by expectation. Just trust in yourself, and you'll be through. Thank you, sir.
Hello, Adarsh Beta. It is very nice to see you.
Thank you, sir.
And heartiest congratulations officially once
Thank you,
again.
sir.
So you have done very well. 149 rank लाए हैं आप. And it is
Yes,
a
sir.
matter of great pride for everybody who is associated with you in any manner, right? Not just for yourself, for your family, for teachers, everybody. You've done everybody very proud, and I'm very happy for you. So, coming to your optional preparation. So, just to share with the other students, Adarsh, like most of the aspirants, hails from a science background. He is a BSc, and after that, he has chosen sociology, right? And as I always tell my students, more than 95% who take up sociology, including those who eventually make it to the list, like Adarsh, they do not have an academic background in the subject.
True, sir.
So what I want to know from you is what was the decision-making process while selecting the option? Because UPSC spoils you for choice.
Yes.
So how did you select sociology?
So one of my hobbies is to read books, and I used to read a lot of books during my childhood. And my mother had graduated after the marriage, and she had graduated in sociology. So I just used to read her guidebooks. And after my graduation, I remember that this was an area where I was quite interested, and sociology always intrigued me. So when I thought of any alternative to science subjects, I was like, sociology is an area where I can enjoy studying it. So that is why I decided sociology.
So your primary criteria was your interest in the subject.
Yes, sir.
And would you advise other candidates also to use the same criteria? Yeah, is there any other criteria which they need to keep in mind?
So there are some other criteria as well. If you are interested, or if you have interest in your academic background, any subject which is academic background, then that is very good, because that will help in maintaining a continuity. But once you have decided that you have to take a subject apart from your academic, you can take that also, but you have to make sure you have to go through previous year question paper, and having an interest and scoring good in that subject are two things which are not completely related as such. Because scoring good marks in a subject you are very interested, that becomes quite difficult at times. So we have to limit our approach to the demand of UPSC only. Our interest should not take us beyond the horizon of UPSC, because ultimately we have to clear an exam.
Correct.
We can explore such subject later on. So that pragmatism should also guide our thinking.
Very good. So what made you think that you can score also well in sociology, not just out of interest, but it is also, how did you evaluate it to be a scoring subject?
Sir, I went through some of the performance of optionals in previous year, how various optionals have performed, and what is the study material which is available online for those optionals. Sociology fitted these criteria.
Did sociology in any way also help you in any other portions of the examination, maybe GS? Or what do you think it gives you an edge in the essay paper?
Definitely, sir. Sociology helps in social issues topic of paper 1. Various issues associated with women in paper 2 is there. And in fact, in ethics also, various thinkers, they are in sociology as well as in ethics also. That also provides a perspective to approach the problem. And then there is just various social topics. Sociology helps a lot in be it the role of family or be it the gender injustice. These type of topics, sociology helps a lot.
Right. And आपके UPSC interview में did questions related to society or sociology in any way come up?
Yes, sir, there was a question related to maternity benefit. How are the corporates approaching that? And another question was related to how sociology will help me in the administration. So these are the two questions I can recall as of now.
ठीक है. And did you find the feedback in the test useful? अभी हम GS means की अगर बात करें, we'll come to the optional later.
Okay, sir. Yes, sir. Many a times the feedback which I received in those test series was encouraging, but many a times it was quite a learning experience as well, because some of the silly mistakes that I used to make in these test series, and then how to enrich my content, how to structure and flow, how to maintain the structure and flow of my answers. So these was something that helped me a lot in actual mains examination.
Now let's talk about the importance of answer writing in the optional paper. If you could highlight that, like how seriously you took that, to what extent did you write answers?
So my first approach was to go through the previous year question paper. What kind of questions is UPSC asking? There is a certain pattern to UPSC questions. There are certain areas which are favored by them. And that is why I went to the previous year question paper to get a pattern of what they are demanding. And after that, I went through a series of IPS in order to enrich my content. And once I was done with that, around 15 days before the actual mains examination, I went through the previous year question paper again in order to mold myself with the need of UPSC examination.
And the feedback you received in the test series, did you find it useful? Like, did it aid your preparation?
Yes, sir. Again, that depended on the test, because in some tests there was a lot to incorporate from those feedback. So we should incorporate those elements of feedback which do not hamper our natural flow or natural structure or the way of writing, because many a times that feedback is not compatible with our actual way of writing. So we had to take only those aspects which fit with our style.
And can you share some tips regarding answer writing in sociology?
We should focus on the conceptual clarity and using as much real life example as we can, because that relates a lot. And we need to adapt ourselves to actual UPSC pattern. So once we are comfortable, we should try to write 3 hours of mains test in sociology so that we can brainstorm efficiently.
Very good. So how many total tests did you write for sociology?
So I had written around 16 tests. After not 16, I had written around 18 tests. Before the mains examination, I had written 10 tests, and after the mains examination, I had written 8 full-length tests for sociology.
You mean after the prelims? Before and after?
Yes, after the prelims.
Okay. And so in a typical answer, how many thinkers would you mention? Did you take care of that ki ek do to dale?
Yes, sir, that depended on the context of question. What is the demand of question? Usually, I was a person who would not bombard his answer with too much thinkers, because I believe that I was not a person who could memorize so many thinkers. And secondly, 2 to 3 thinkers look okay in an answer, but when you introduce a thinker every 4th or 5th time, that becomes quite irksome to those who are checking the copy. So that is something we need to do.
Because so many students think that you just mention a thinker's name and what he said without giving a proper flow or structure to the answer.
True that.
That doesn't work. अच्छा, एक चीज बताइए आदर्श बेटे कि in sociology a lot of students have this thing that how do you distinguish your answer from a GS answer, and that is particularly in paper 2, because that happens, right? A lot of topics are overlapping or similar. So how would you address the same question, say on women's empowerment or tribal upliftment, differently in the GS and the sociology paper?
Sir, we do not have to take care only to distinguish our sociology answers from the GS. We also have to take care to distinguish our GS answer from our sociology. because that also becomes counterproductive. So what I did was I used to incorporate some specific keywords which are there in sociology. The more keywords pertaining to sociological parlance we use, the more we'll be benefited. Sociology is not just about having too much thinkers; it is also about having a sociological approach to
Very
things. So when I talk about the same topic of poverty or inequality in sociology, we had to take care of the tribals, we had to take care of the transgenders, and we have to be as inclusive sociologically as we can. That separates our GS answer. We do not need to just spit on some facts here and there. We have to take care of every strata of society and how every strata approaches the same problem differently. That brings the sociological aspects to us.
Why do you think you did not score as well in sociology paper 2 beta as you did? Just to clarify for the students listening that Adarsh scored 149 in paper 1, which is very respectable, and he scored 128 in paper 2. Am I correct there?
Yes.
Correct if I'm wrong, beta. You know? So in paper 2, we do see that Adarsh had a possibility of perhaps scoring better. Okay, total इनका sociology score बना 277. So why do you think in hindsight, like what mistake you would have made in sociology paper 2?
So sociology 2 is a sort of fragmented resources. It is a paper where the topics and syllabus, there is a lack of too much interconnectivity, and there's my resources were quite fragmented. So first of all, I need to consolidate my notes and reduce their length. And second is the emphasis. My emphasis was more on paper 1, and that happens with a lot of aspirants. That paper 1 they provide too much focus on paper 1, and the overlap of paper 2 with GS, we tend to underestimate the importance of sociology paper 2. So that is something I think the skewed pattern of my preparation. That is something I'll looking forward to improve.
And how do you tackle unexpected questions? Because no matter how thoroughly prepared you are, there are certain questions which you can never anticipate. है ना? So
Yes.
जैसे पहले demonetization पे आ गया या क्या green उस पे आ गया था. What was that
Green
question?
chemistry was a test.
Sorry?
So the green chemistry question there
Green
was.
chemistry question. हाँ या इस टाइप के जब आते हैं, हाँ तो what is your approach to such questions?
So first of all, we should not panic. That is the primary consideration I had in my mind.
हाँ,
So
बहुत
for
सही बात बोली बेटा.
yes,
अब
sir.
जैसे व्हाइट हेड वाला क्वेश्चन आया था, इतने लोग
Yes.
उसको देख के घबरा गए.
Yes, sir.
हाँ.
Before the mains, as I said, what I did was I went through previous year question paper around 8 to 10 years, and I marked only those questions where I had very less idea or very I'd say almost negligible idea. Those question whom I had definitely ignored if it had come in actual paper. But I took those questions, prepared a list, and about 10 days before the mains, I tried to write an answer. It doesn't matter how stupid I write or if I have zero clue about that. I try to frame a 150 or 250 word answer of those questions where I had zero idea, and that actually helped me in the sociology paper, because then you become sort of adapted to uncertainty, and this adaptation helps in the actual examination.
And you need to think on your feet in the examination. Tell us कि आपका daily routine क्या था while preparing, and you can also maybe use mix of Hindi and English.
सर मैं अपने दिन को 7 से 8 घंटे की स्टडी में डिवाइड करता था. आई यूज्ड टू मेक श्योर कि ऑन एन एवरेज 7 से 8 घंटे पढ़ना है, एंड उसको मैं
बहुत तो बच्चे सुन रहे होंगे वो सोचेंगे केवल 7 से 8 घंटे.
When I say 7 से 8 I mean 7 से 8 प्रोडक्टिव घंटे, because मैथ भी पढ़ सकते हो बट प्रोडक्टिविटी कितना आती है. So 7 to 8 productive hours I think is sufficient, and I used to divide my day in 3 phases. एक फेज में मैं जीएस पढ़ता था, एक में ऑप्शनल पढ़ता था, एंड न्यूज़पेपर एंड करंट अफेयर्स के लिए 1 से 2 घंटे का मैं फेज रखता था. एंड आई यूज्ड टू मेक श्योर कि मैं ऑप्शनल कुछ ना कुछ डेली जरूर पढ़ता रहूं, एंड सो ये 3 फेज में मेरा प्रिपरेशन मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम चला.
ठीक है. आदर्श ये बताओ बेटा कि डिड यू हैव एनी पीरियड्स ऑफ सेल्फ डाउट, कि अनसर्टेनिटी कि होगा नहीं होगा?
Yes sir, there are various phases in our preparation when we think that okay, this exam is quite demanding, nahi ho payega, let's say, and people are trying too hard. They are more talented and more hardworking than me, and they'll succeed. So for that, I think one should take the help of their family, their friends. A small support circle should be there, and they can pursue their hobbies to keep their mind away from these cycles of disappointments. That will help a lot.
Others, just give me 1 minute, beta. Huh? 1 minute, I'll return. Share some tips for clearing the exam in one attempt, because ये सबकी इच्छा होती है, होता बहुत कम बच्चों का है ना?
Yes.
तो उसके लिए आपने कि आपके जितने यंग आप हो, इस एज में हर कोई कर पाए या अधिक लोग कर पाए, उसके लिए क्या करना चाहिए व्यक्ति?
So first of all, we do not need to burden ourselves with too much resources. The minimal the resources, more are the odds of completing basic revision and practicing various tests. So first of all, have minimum resources. Second, I'd say practice as much as you can, especially before the examination. We should try to make sure that we are adapted to the actual exam conditions. And thirdly, declutter your mind, because when we enter into this UPSC universe, there are various myths circulating around and there are various stories circulating around. We need to declutter ourselves and dissociate ourselves from such things which might be demotivating or depressing as such. So these three tips I can.
ठीक है. एक ये बताइए आदर्श, what was your approach to making notes? Did you make detailed notes on every topic in all the portions of the syllabus, या आपने books में ही underline किया, या digital बनाए, handwritten बनाए? थोड़ा सा उस पे elaborate कीजिए.
Sir, I usually avoided notes. During my graduation also, I did not used to make notes as such. Even in UPSC journey, I kept my notes to a very minimal, only for certain topics which I was sure that I will not get in any traditional resources. Only then I used to make notes. So most of my preparation was done right from the material itself, highlighting and writing on it, rather than separate notes.
ठीक है. In fact, I also tell a lot of students कि when you are making notes now, you are literally reinventing the wheel. A lot of publishers, coaching institutes, they are doing the task for you. Right? So you do where you need to make effort.
Yes.
Right? Essay में you have done decent, though you could have done better. Right?
Yes.
You scored 124 marks in the essay paper, yes, if I remember correctly. So essay के लिए बताइए, what was your approach? How many essays did you write practicing?
Sir, basically, I had written 5 mock tests for essay before examination, and I believe the simpler the essay, the better the flow and structure, more will be the marking. Sometimes we tend to go more articulative or more metaphorical. That sometimes is counterproductive, I guess. So simple language and lucid flow works a lot.
Very good. And when you got your essays evaluated, what was the feedback like before the actual exam? And how did you incorporate that feedback in your subsequent essays?
Sir, feedback differed from one test to another. In some of the tests, I got very encouraging feedback, and in various tests, it was pointed out that what more I can improve to enhance my content. And I used to write those feedback in one of my notebooks. And when before the essay test, I just went through that notebook, that what more I need to do, and that.
Tell me, ethics के लिए आपने preparation कैसे करी, particularly about the case study?
Sir, ethics का मेरा approach ऐसा था कि first of all I had to prepare a basic definition of all the keywords, and I had to keep some examples ready for every keywords in ethics. And then the third step was to ensure that I can make interrelationship between different syllabus topics, like I can relate integrity with emotional intelligence and all. So this was my broad approach. And for case studies, I used to practice the previous year question papers, and I used to see what kind of question is UPSC asking and what is the demand of UPSC. And apart from that, the findings of my test series and the feedback that I received from there, that also I inculcated in my preparation.
ठीक है. GS में did you prepare for the prelims and mains separately or in an integrated fashion better?
Sir, actually, when I started the preparation, I started preparing from the mains perspective. I did prepare some core subjects in the start, like basic books like Kant and Spectrum. But after that, I decided that first of all, my priority should be to cover the mains syllabus. So I did main syllabus first, and when 3 or 4 months were left for prelims, then I started doing exclusive preparation for prelims. Having said that, I was solving prelims test at regular interval so that I am not out of touch with the prelims preparation.
ठीक है. Prelims test series की अगर बात करें,
Yes, sir.
how much time did you, or how many tests did you write? Did you write like on a daily basis? Total कितने लिए होंगे? Did you join any test series? Was it helpful?
Actually, I was writing some test in around September or October when I was done with the basic books like Spectrum and Polity. So I wrote some test, but afterwards when I started preparing for the mains, I did not get time. And in February, I started writing the prelims test again. And I had decided that I'll write 2 tests per day. And after that, I'll prepare for mains only, so that I am satisfied that, okay, I am devoting some time to prelims also. So I attempted more than 200 tests for prelims.
That is an incredible number, बेटा, right? आदर्श, आपके पीछे लाइट की रिफ्लेक्शन आ रही है आपके टेलीविजन स्क्रीन में. So is there any other light that you can switch on?
Sure, sir. Sure, sir.
Please, बेटा.
Sir, is it okay now?
It's perfect.
Thank you, sir.
ठीक है. So आपने बताया you wrote more than 200 prelims mocks.
Yes.
And the amount of time you would have spent in taking the mocks, almost, I presume an equal time would have gone in analyzing the performance and the new learnings. Is that correct?
I had decided that daily I'll give 3 hours to prelims test. And initially, when I was giving 1 test, then it was taking time. But when I started doing 2 tests per day, gradually it was my speed became such that within 3 hours I used to write both the tests, both the prelims test. And I used to inculcate only those aspects of the prelims test which I thought that it will be beneficial for me in the actual examination. Because many a times the quality of tests differ from one test to another, and many a times there is a lack of any productive element or substantial element of prelims preparation in those tests. So I used to write only those things which I considered significant in the actual UPSC examination. That is why my workload reduced a lot.
ठीक है. Tell me, like for means, what was your broad approach with it?
My approach was to first of all cover the GS syllabus by myself and then go for regular mains test. So what I did was I covered my basic syllabus first, and then I decided to appear for some mains mock test. So even before prelims, I had appeared for around more than 20 mock tests for GS and around more than 10 mock tests for sociology.
Right. Fine.